Well, a very good evening and a warm welcome to Main Road for tonight's second division game between Manchester City and Portsmouth. Pompey make the long trip north for this evening's game with Terry Connor, the man to watch, wearing number 10. He's the leading scorer this season. City really are the form side in Division 2 at the moment, with 5 successive victories taking them into this game. That includes a victory against Plymouth Argyle last week in the Littlewoods Cup, but 4 straight victories in the league. In fact, this is the 3rd successive game here at Main Road as well. So every likelihood of success for City tonight. Portsmouth had a very early season flourish with 3 straight victories after relegation from Division 1 last season. But in recent weeks things have not quite gone according to plan. In fact, you have to go back to September the 3rd for the last Portsmouth victory. That was 4-0 against Leeds United at Fratton Park. Let's have a look at the 2 sides this evening, starting with the City lineup. In goal, Andy Dibble. The number 2, Mark Seagraves. 3, Andy Hinchcliffe. Number 4, Brian Gale. 5, Wayne Biggins, although he won't be playing at the back. Probably be playing up front. That's where he played on Saturday. Indeed, this is an unchanged team from the one which won on Saturday. 6, and captain is Stevie Redmond. 7, David White. Paul Molden wears number 8. Trevor Morley at 9. Neil McNabb 10, and Paul Lake is the number 11. The 2 substitutes: recent signing from Sheffield Wednesday, Carl Bradshaw, and the return to fitness, Ian Brightwell. Portsmouth. Portsmouth have Alan Knight in goal, with Warren Neal, the captain, at number 2. 3 is Paul Hardiman. Number 4, Martin Cool. 5, Graham Hogg. Number 6, Billy Gilbert. 7, Mark Chamberlain. Number 8, Barry Horn. 9, Warren Aspinall. Number 10, that man to watch, Terry Connor. And number 11, Mark Kelly. The 2 subs: Mickey Quinn and Clive Whitehead. Referee for this evening's fixture is Alan Seville of Birmingham, with the 2 linesmen, Mr. Andrews of Blackpool and Mr. Rawson of Sheffield. Last time these 2 sides met here at Main Road was back in November 1984. And Pompey, leading 2-0 at half-time, were brought back to 2-2. The goal scorers on that evening: Steve Kinsey and Gordon Smith for the Blues, with Neil Webb scoring both of Portsmouth's goals. Of course, those players have all now moved on. Plenty of fresh faces and a great deal of turnover in football these days. So the referee checks with his linesman, has a look at the watch, and City prepared to get this game underway. Wayne Biggins and Trevor Morley. Now right for Paul Molden. Trevor Morley playing in midfield this evening. And the first free kick of the game goes to City. Neil McNabb. Seagraves. Go the heads. Gale well forward. City starting lively here. Had to be hooked away by the captain, Neil. Morley. Only as far as Hinchcliffe. Everybody still forward. And here's Connor. McNabb in a tussle with him, but Connor keeps possession, swings it out to Kelly. Hardiman. Well, Neil McNabb had a short loan spell with Portsmouth on his travels, so a bit of a sentimental game for him. I'm sure he'll want to do well, as players always do against former sides. Not much between the 2 clubs at the moment, with City lying in 5th position before today's game. Pompey in 6th. City won on Saturday 1-0 here at Main Road against Blackburn Rovers, with Wayne Biggins the hero, whilst Portsmouth, after leading 1-0 at Bradford City, went down by 2-1. That's a good ball by Biggins for Malden. Quick ball into the middle towards Biggins again. Goalkeeper did well. White! Tremendous start for City. Malden did the donkey work out on the left. It was his cross. The first chance wasn't put away, and then David White, well, he doesn't miss those opportunities. Just 2 minutes on the clock. And City's form continues. Well, that's David White's third goal of the season. The other two being headers from corners. Scored the goal last Wednesday against Plymouth in the Littlewoods Cup, and also a goal at Barnsley. Gale's header. Oh, he gives that one to Chamberlain. He was brought down by McNabb, quickly taken the free kick. Chamberlain goes for the return. And David White looks for Biggins. And it's cut out by Neil. Well, that's certain to give the City supporters on the Kippax particularly something to sing about, and an opportunity to wave their bananas in the air. Very long kick by Dibble. McNabb out to White. Takes on Hardiman. David White, one of several England under 21 caps in both sides really of the field. City had a whole cluster playing for England under 21s recently, and people like Mark Chamberlain for the visitors, also with England under 21 caps. In fact, of course, Chamberlain has 8 full caps as well. Biggins with the header. Malden picks up the loose ball. Good turn by him. Shot in. Super goal by Paul Malden. Well, what a start for City. You've only got to give Paul Malden half a chance and he buries it. A sweet turn in the box. Biggins once again involved. And you won't see a better finish than that anywhere in the Football League. There's still only 5 minutes on the clock. Well, already Portsmouth have a mountain to climb. Oh, Paul Malden, his name rings around Main Road. That's his third goal of the season. And all three have been spectacular. Wayne Biggins instrumental in both goals. Horn keeps possession, twisting and turning. Portsmouth must be wondering what's hit them. It's been a long journey up from the south coast for them, and they find themselves 2 goals down within 5 minutes of the kick-off. Martin Cool. Connor's calling it for it on the far side. Chamberlain's there as well. Hasn't reached that far. And offside anyway. Mark Seagraves letting everybody know exactly where the free kick should be taken from. Header won that time by Neil. Hinchcliffe doing well. Lake, that's a good ball. Looking for David White if he can get there, which he will. First time cross. Moulton's in the middle. Oh, what a start by Manchester City. A quick slip up through the gears. Lake to White, and Portsmouth in all sorts of problems. Well, Andy Hinchcliffe has supplied crosses from corners for goals. That's where it goes to David White. It was saved by Knight. McNabb will chip that one back in again, left-footed. It's a deep one. Hinchcliffe goes for it. Seemed to be brought down then by the Portsmouth man. Oh, the referee is in fact having a word with Wayne Biggins about something out of shot. And meanwhile, with the flag lying prostrate on the floor, Portsmouth have a throw. Not a very convincing clearance. Now beaten to the tackle. Redmond creates time and space for Hinchcliffe. Chance to look up, pick out Biggins. Headed back down for Lake. But Horn trying to convert defence into attack for Portsmouth. A long high kick by Alan Knight. Hardiman. Gale stumbled initially but recovered well. Seagraves quickly takes a throw, well left by Biggins. Almost too well left then. I think he caught Moulden out as well. Neil. Good jump by Redmond. Offside being flagged by the linesman on the far side, but City continue. Referee sees the flag. But Portsmouth have possession, and he waves play on. Aspinall. Chamberlain. Keeps the ball in. Well, Mark Chamberlain is 27 years old now. At the time he was at Port Vale, Malcolm Allison, then the boss here at Main Road. showed a lot of interest in the then young lad, and eventually went via Stoke and Sheffield Wednesday to Portsmouth. In comes a free kick, headed away by Redmond. Maldon, the sole City man forward. Hinchcliffe. Such a confident player, Andy Hinchcliffe. Hesitation by the Pompey defender. It was Graham Hogg who waited and waited for that ball to drop. It was a mistake that Blackburn made on Saturday. They were punished by a goal from Wayne Biggins. For that time, City couldn't capitalise. Kelly. That's the free kick. Hardiman with a throw, picks out Horn. Gilbert, Neil, Connor almost blocking the shot then from Neil. Maldon. Hogg fouling Maldon, so free kick to City. Oh, it's really been one-way traffic so far. Well, that one you won't see in a textbook of football. Maldon twisting and turning, but that time he loses out. Well, Alan Knight in the Pompey goal is another one of the England under-21 caps. Portsmouth his only club. Seagraves, nice control on the chest initially. That's a good ball by Morley to Lake. Maldon. White was a target on the far post. Lake. Intricate stuff. Morley pushed in the back. Gale. Up in the air from Cool. Gilbert. Header from Gale. Up in the air from Hogg. Redmond is looking for White. And Hogg puts it out for a throw. As once again, City take the game to Portsmouth, looking to possibly add a third. Lovely turn, Seagraves with the cross. Queuing up on the far post then. It was Morley who got the header in. And the Pompey chimes at the moment seem to be missing. Gale slightly underhitting the back pass, but Dibble recovered well. It was Connor in pursuit. But Dibble rescued the big City number 4. Chamberlain. Well, Horn didn't like that challenge, and neither did the referee. Neil, space to get a cross in. Redmond read it well. Mark Kelly. Near post effort. We'll get another try now. Chamberlain's on the near post with David White just behind him. And Horn on the near post. You also see Graham Hogg there on the edge of the box. Comes all the way to Martin Cool. Well, I suppose that goes down as Portsmouth's first shot at goal. Only signed this month, Martin Cool. £120,000 from Watford. One of the promotion rivals in Division 2 this season. Gale, slightly overhitting that pass then to White. Portsmouth really are struggling here, both in defence and as they move forward. There's that long ball from Hinchcliffe. Tries to set Biggins away. Referee saw a push then by Gale. Hardiman. 2 City players covering. Nice turn by Malden. Got a nasty knock in the face on Saturday, Paul Malden, which happily seems to have recovered from. Seagraves. Neil. Connor. Gilbert brought down. Doesn't seem to react too favourably when he's brought down, Billy Gilbert. Takes the free kick himself. And what a poor effort that was. Well, Paul Malden really is one of the most popular players here at Main Road at the moment. And it's no surprise with goals of the like of which he's been scoring recently. Gale. Don't think he quite meant that one to go to David White. In the end it doesn't. That's the way to deceive the opposition, I think. Played off one of the legs. Well, that was a better ball. Chamberlain on offside against Warren Aspinall, former Wigan man. Funnily enough, one or two of the players in this Portsmouth side are from the north. Warren Aspinall started his career at Wigan before moving on to Everton. He arrived via Aston Villa. Indeed, he's the club record signing at £315,000. On the bench tonight, Mike Quinn, the former Oldham Athletic and Stockport County player. He's also played for Wigan, curiously enough, and a player who has been rumoured to be linked with City. Here's another one whose name has been linked with City in the past, Graham Hogg. In towards Connor. Biggins, White, temporarily unmarked, but two players came to him very quickly. Did very well then, David White. His speed and sheer determination almost paid off then. Well, Wayne Biggins is the player for me who's caught the eye in these opening 23 minutes. Instrumental in both of the goals and looking far better up front than in midfield, where he has had one or two games, with Trevor Morley switching roles with him really on Saturday to allow Biggins to go up front, and Trevor Morley for his part does look happier in midfield as well, although his arrival from Northampton Town was as a striker. There doesn't seem to be much movement from the Portsmouth player who's down. Portsmouth have a substitute warming up. And it really is quite worrying when you don't see a player move very much like that. Physio and the referee look very concerned. There's Paul Hardiman now happily is sat up. Hardiman is another one of these players with England under-21 experience. Portsmouth being his hometown club. Well, applause from the supporters in the main stand as the lad gets back on his feet. So eventually the game resumes. McNabb. He was looking for Seagraves. Connor. Kelly. No problems for City. Hinchcliffe looking to quickly hit Paul Molden. Hardiman, now recovered. Kelly doing well, slips through two tackles, but totally crowded out then. But McNabb stupidly gives away the free kick. Kelly was never going to get through then. And Portsmouth with a free kick. Hardiman will take it himself. Deep one. Comes to Chamberlain. Well, it was actually Connor that. Chamberlain will now come over and take the corner on the opposite side. In comes the corner. Has Hogg got a touch on that one? Still bouncing around, but no power from Aspinall's header, and no problems for Andy Dibble. Well, after that unbelievable start really from the Blues, the game now has slowed considerably. And it is a pity really, because another couple of goals would, as well as doing the confidence, which must be sky high, it must be said at the moment, a power of good. It will also add to City's goal difference, which you never know could be crucial at the end of the season. Gilbert, Hogg. Not a lot of movement really for Hogg. So inevitably City picking up possession. Chamberlain. Aspinall. Connor pushing that one a little bit too far and clattering into the advertising hoardings. Molden lays it off well to McNabb, looks for the return, a little bit too far ahead of him. Chamberlain, Connor looking for a return, gets it, and Redmond wasn't going to give him an inch then. Neil, Connor on the edge of the box, can he turn? Good overlapping run, low cross, well held by Dibble. Well, Andy Dibble had to be on his toes then, with Portsmouth players crowding the penalty area really. If it had dropped Barry Horn's cross. Well, everybody misread that one from McNabb, except the Portsmouth players, that is. Aspinall. Kelly on the overlap on the outside of it. He could have got the ball out to him, he was unmarked. But City, as well as looking good going forward, have looked very solid at the back. Molden brought down. Hogg didn't like the decision, but it won't matter anyway. Lake recovering. Hinchcliffe. Biggins on a run through the middle. Molden. He's been playing wide on that left hand side. In towards Gale. And another corner. Well, it's very noticeable in this first half that Paul Molden is playing quite wide on the left really. That was the sort of position that he scored the goal from. Checking inside. And once again, he's posing some problems for Portsmouth. Hinchcliffe. And the shot came in then from David White. Molden in that inside left position once again, faced with Gilbert. Chamberlain's come back to help him, but Molden wins the throw. Well, that was a pretty decisive challenge. Biggins trying to make space. Morley's coming up now into the box. Biggins did well. Hinchcliffe. White in the middle. Rose to the header, but it was off target. Good header from Redmond. Connor versus Gale. No problems for Brian Gale. David White. Molden now popping up on the right hand side. Lake inside him. Comes through to Biggins. What a super finish from Bertie Biggins. His second goal inside 4 days, scoring the winner against Blackburn on Saturday. But a splendid finish then, but City now 3-0 ahead. Well, cries of "we want 10" from the Kippax. Harking back to that 10-1 victory against Huddersfield Town last season. And Portsmouth again with problems in terms of injuries. So Portsmouth with the walking wounded now as City move forward again. Biggins in the middle. Tried the first time shot. Morley's cross was a good one. And Biggins adventurous on the volley, but not that time going into the net. Well, with 3 goals now in the bag, surely it must be a case of how many City can get. I can't see any way back for Portsmouth. Biggins leaving that well. Looks for the return from Molden. What a good partnership this is beginning to prove to be. Molden in the middle from White's cross. Nearly came to Lake. Well, the referee is going over to his linesman. I feel that possibly the linesman saw an infringement before that on a City player, which may result in a free kick going City's way. And in fact, it looks as if it something completely different because the referee's now having a word with the policeman. Well, no doubt that will go in the referee's report. But we're none the wiser up here. Hardiman. What on earth was that? Neil looking for Connor. Offside, and what a pity, because that promised to be another good City move, with once again Biggins involved. Physically doesn't look unlike Paul Stewart, who departed during the summer, a bit more lightweight possibly, but from a distance could be mistaken for Stewart, and certainly the way he's playing, City aren't missing last season's top scorer. Header from Hogg. Well, Portsmouth seem to have had a little bit of a culture shock in the last few matches after dropping from the First Division and finding it apparently easy in those first 3 games. Things not quite going their way at the moment. And ironically City, who had a disappointing start, all of a sudden can't do anything wrong, it would seem. Redmond. And a good understanding developing between the City back four. Mark Seagraves, who really one would think would prefer to play in the centre of defence. That's where his early days were spent at Liverpool. But now apparently enjoying himself at full-back. That's a good ball from Biggins for Morley. Did well, Morley. Little chip in towards Maldon. So much really to enjoy about this City performance so far tonight. Well, we didn't enjoy that, nor the challenge from Stevie Redmond. One might call that possibly a professional foul. They certainly got away with it, and from a City point of view it was effective and necessary. Everybody back now inside their own penalty area for the Blues. Paul Maldon, usually the lone striker, has just joined the end of the wall. And Seagraves taking it off the head of Terry Connor. Left really then with 2 players to mark. Warren Aspinall was just in front of him, Connor just behind. So it was crucial really that Seagraves made contact, and he did. Well, you didn't see that then, but Mark Chamberlain tried to take the corner then and completely slipped. Gets the second chance. No problems for Andy Dibble. Typical really of Pompey's night so far, that. Kelly. Seagraves cleverly wins the throw. The referee says that Biggins fouled Hogg. Horn turning into trouble. David White with a quick forward ball towards Molden. Molden gets a bit of a look at the bounce, gets the shot in. Biggins comes. Well, a complete miscue from Paul Molden. Unlucky possibly to not have a second from his personal point of view, Paul Molden. And City really could have been leading by as many as 5-0. It's still only 3. But one feels that City will add to this tally. Molden. Gilbert had the ball taken off him, then he looked as if he wanted to go all the way. Chamberlain. Aspinall. A soft goal, and Portsmouth possibly back in the game. Matt Chamberlain is always an accurate cross of the ball, and Warren Aspinall, club's record signing, will never have an easier header than that one. Almost on the stroke of half time. No, I knew it was tempting fate, saying that City were possibly going to get another one. Right on cue, it's Portsmouth who get the goal. They still look dead and buried though, Portsmouth, it has to be said. But you never know. Another quick goal just after half time. And Portsmouth could be right back in it. So City really must take a grip and, if possible, add another goal. And then surely the game would be beyond Portsmouth's reach. Well, that produces the Pompey chimes. And at last the supporters who've made the long journey north having something to sing about. Neil. Gilbert. I don't think even Carl Lewis would have got that one. Half time, and a very satisfactory first half from the home team's point of view. 2 goals within the first 5 minutes from David White and Paul Molden, with Wayne Biggins undoubtedly the star of the first half, adding his own personal goal in the 34th minute. Warren Aspinall though hitting one back for Pompey just before half time. Half time then, it's City 3, Portsmouth 1. Well, I'm not aware of any substitutes on the field for either side. But just as we wait for the referee to return to the field of play, it's worth noting that this evening, or rather today, City have announced a profit of almost £500,000 during the last 12 months. And what better way than to celebrate with an emphatic victory here tonight, which it would seem City are set to do. Games unbeaten before today, 5 of those in the last 5 were victories. And although I wouldn't like to tempt fate, it does look as if City are set for another one this evening, and that's before they embark on the longest week in domestic football as I can ever remember, with Ipswich Town and then 2 visits to Plymouth coming up, starting on Saturday in an 8-day period. Some of us will be making the trips. I'm sure there will be plenty of Blues fans at all those games. Here's Chamberlain, Kelly, can't get past Seagraves, eventually hits the cross in, but it's too long. And Pompey will need really to get a quick goal if they are to have any chance whatsoever of getting back into this game. But as long as Andy Dibble can smother any balls into the box like that, there's not much hope for them. Today's match sponsors are Norweb, who seem to have put a spark of life into the City performance tonight. Gilbert looking for Connor. Malden. Mel Machin commented after Saturday's game that the 2 front runners, meaning Biggins and Paul Malden, have been holding up the ball well for City, and so they are. But here's Chamberlain, not his stronger foot, the left foot of Mark Chamberlain. Lovely balanced athlete, Mark Chamberlain, who seems to skip with great ease past players, but fortunately not doing that too much this evening. Well, not a very cool clearance from Cool. Malden. And free kick, and the City once again taking the game to Portsmouth, thereby seemingly ending Portsmouth's chances of a revival. Seagraves, McNabb sensibly looks to his left, finds Hinchcliffe. This is where City had a lot of success in the first half, moving down their own left. Gilbert looking to Portsmouth's left, and Kelly. Well, not quite, I think, but Portsmouth's Kelly managed to do that one, or intended to do that. Cool. Good job, Redmond was there for City with Terry Connor, but Portsmouth all of a sudden well, that was quite amazing then. David White was laid on the floor and headed it out for a throw. Good back heel. Morley doing well. Kelly brought down, free kick to Portsmouth. corner. Came off David White. And Billy Gilbert now joins the attack. Aspinall and Hogg. Hogg on the near post. Chamberlain's corner. Straight into the hands of Andy Dibble. What a good signing Dibble has been. Has really proved his worth in recent matches with some splendid saves. Offside. Trying to play football in little triangles, and it's not quite coming off for Portsmouth. And handball. Gilbert doesn't agree, but there was no doubt about that decision. So City with a free kick in a very interesting position. Andy Hinchcliffe and Paul Lake can both hit free kicks from here. Brian Gale, as you can see, is arriving on the far side of the penalty area. David White might fancy a crack. Hinchcliffe's just stood off to one side. Kelly joins onto the end of the five-man Portsmouth wall. And it's McNabb standing over the ball. In towards Gale. Well, there was a kick there in the box. You probably saw that by Gilbert, who really is proving to be a little bit temperamental. Doesn't seem to like any of the decisions that go against him. Kelly, Aspinall. Aspinall goes alone, hits the crossbar with a super shot. Well, Warren Aspinall with that goal just before half time. And that was a fine effort. And Trevor Morley is the man being lectured by Mr. Seville. Mel Machin was off the bench then. Straight to Chamberlain. Chamberlain again, a little bit unconventional, but it worked. But City soon have possession back. Molden's running for that one. Hogg had to chest trap that one. And offside. Biggins just a little bit too far away from Molden. Seagraves gets it straight to Connor. Coming in on the far side is Aspinall, but he was too wide. Chips it in, headed away. It was Gale whose header saved City then. But Mark Seagraves almost allowing Portsmouth's Connor to bring Pompey right back into the game. Chamberlain on the far side, but Dibble firmly behind it, and City just for the moment looking a little uncertain at the back. They've survived, but only just. The home crowd trying to lift the team, who momentarily are having a bad patch. Gilbert harassed by Malden. Another throw to Pompey. Mark Chamberlain, Gilbert, and the skipper via his keeper works it out to the left. Connor's control let him down then. Well, that was a stupid thing for Connor to do with the referee so nearby. Got away with it. McNabb, Lake, White, checking in field. Chamberlain shrugged off the challenge from Morley and now lets those long legs stretch out. Connor kneels on the overlap. Not a good ball by Connor though. And City will have a goal kick. "11 minutes gone in the second half, and the avalanche from City that threatened in the first half, temporarily at least, comes to a halt. Header from Gilbert. Hinchcliffe offside. Alan Ball is the manager at Portsmouth, or the first team coach, as he prefers to be called. Indeed, that's a role really in many ways that Mael Machin has, although his title is manager. Chamberlain tackled by Lake. Cool, switching it out to Kelly. Support arriving from the fullback. Kelly gets a second bite at the cherry. This time a more decisive clearance from Seagraves. And Biggins gets the free kick, which will slow things down a little bit. The free kick taken a little bit too quickly then by Paul Lake. Well, Alan Ball of course needs very little introduction to football supporters. In that World Cup winning team in 1966. 72 England caps altogether. He knows all about winning the major honours, with a league championship medal in his trophy cabinet as well at home from his days at Everton. But these days he has problems at Portsmouth, particularly here tonight. Up in the air from Gilbert. Lake, White. Ooh, he could have kept that one in. Paul Malden could have possibly been away after that one. Not a convincing clearance. Portsmouth now have the ball under control with don't know if you call them red shirts, cherry shirts is probably a more accurate description moving forward. But little real imagination about this Portsmouth side, which is surprising with such quality players as Aspinall and Terry Connor, Chamberlain in support. Biggins, White, Seagraves, back to White again. Malden, clearly brought down. Biggins and Malden, who've linked well this evening. Goal apiece. Lake forced away. No, he's still trying to go forward. Wins the corner. The easy option then would have been to play the reverse ball to McNabb, but Lake was more adventurous and is rewarded with a corner. Paul Malden inside the 6-yard box. Oh, Morley seemed to almost steer that one away from the goal line. He's back recovering. McNabb under pressure. The shout was from Redmond, for which McNabb acknowledged. Malden policed by Billy Gilbert. Hinchcliffe. Malden's in the middle. Didn't quite reach him. We may possibly be able to hear one or two shouts from the players in the quieter moments on this near side. Chamberlain. Only as far as Redmond. McNabb. Good little ball through to Malden, who was onside. McNabb, little cross into the middle. First time shot. Morley was coming in. Lake. White had the initial effort, Morley came in, but City couldn't hit the back of the net. David White had the clearer chance possibly. Gilbert, Connor, and Redmond there first. It seems to me in the last couple of games, Stevie Redmond to suddenly have looked a lot sharper. And there was a perfect example from the young City skipper. Chamberlain. Gilbert. Morley. Cool. Ahead of him is Aspinall. That's a good ball. Hinchcliffe though, in spite of the foul from Aspinall, was good enough to get there before the highly rated Portsmouth striker. Good long kick from Dibble. Chamberlain looking for a return. Space cut down by Morley and Redmond. And McNabb's challenge gives Portsmouth a free kick. Molden's running through the middle. Biggins was aware, tried to play the early ball, which was exactly the right thing to do. And unfortunately for him, it didn't quite come off that time. Connor looking for the return. Dibble off his line quickly. Chamberlain. Good deep cross. Seagraves had to stretch. Kelly, Aspinall. Another chance for Pompey. Goes over the bar. But it's worth mentioning, I think, really at this stage, that Mark Seagraves, who's playing at full-back on a number of occasions this evening and countless times in recent weeks, has proved excellent cover really for the two central defenders, and this may be the ace up Mel Machin's sleeve by playing Seagraves at full-back, because he's not only a very aware and good defensive full-back, but he can come into the middle in those sorts of situations as a third central defender. And he really has settled in very, very well now in that number 2 shirt. Gilbert. Morley beaten in the air, so it's City's throw. Worth mentioning as well that pitch looks in absolutely super condition again this evening, and considering the amount of rain we've had in Manchester today, that is truly a credit to Stan Gibson, the groundsman. Hinchcliffe looking for Lake. Clumsy clearance, but it did enough for Portsmouth. And now it's 3 versus 2 quickly as City's midfield race back. But once again, Seagraves proving what a very good game he's having. Morley. Molden is onside. Morley. Only one man to aim for. Biggins. More blue shirts up for Lake. Biggins on the near post. The goalkeeper's lost it. And he turns round and says thank you very much. Good header by Gale. And a complete slip by Aspinall to the hoots of laughter from the City supporters. Lake. McNabb. Promising again from City. Hinchcliffe, good ball in, Molden, terrific shot and a super save from Alan Knight in the Portsmouth goal. That really was a very, very good save from Alan Knight. Well deserving of the applause he's received from home supporters as well as the faithful who've made the long trip up from Fratton Park. Hinchcliffe. Aspinall came back and gives away the corner. Turn the screw. Looking for a fourth goal. We've just passed halfway in the second half. White's corner causing problems. Hinchcliffe tries a shot. Not far away. He's always rising over the bar. But a fine effort from Andy Hinchcliffe. Now it looks as if Portsmouth now are going to bring on a substitute. Terry Connor. He's going to be replaced by Mickey Quinn. The former Brighton and Leeds man. He is replaced by the 26-year-old Liverpudlian, who's now been at Portsmouth for just over 2 years. It's his transfer from Oldham Athletic for £150,000. And that is the first booking of the game. Martin Cool for that late challenge on Trevor Morley. Referee, you can see there, saying that his feet were up. And a quick showing of the yellow card by the referee. Gale's just moved forward. Quinn's moved back to police him. Molden in. And another corner. White's headed it on, and Molden, his mere presence then causing problems for Portsmouth. And Andy Hinchcliffe will possibly try a long ball towards David White once again. That has been so successful in recent weeks. White pulls back. It's Gale who gets there. Molden. Knight struggling. Well, David White actually pulled back further than the ball was going, which gave another City player a chance. McNabb. Pushed in the back clearly then Biggins. Well, the referee amazingly gives the free kick Portsmouth's way. Can't understand that decision at all. Wayne Biggins, who had a particularly good first half, but has looked lively second half, went flying then. But the referee, obviously, is far more experienced and, in theory at least, gives the correct decisions. And his decision is a free kick, or rather a throw, no free kick at all to Portsmouth. Chamberlain, Gilbert, Aspinall, Gilbert running for a return, Quinn running through the middle, went well by Gale. The ball swept out to Kelly. On the overlap, it was Hardiman. Kelly, still Kelly. Determination from Paul Lake pays off. Molden. Straight into Graham Hogg. And still Hogg. But the ball has gone out now. Seagraves offside against Biggins. Neil, and McNabb seems to be everywhere at the moment. That's a free kick as well. All of a sudden then, Neil McNabb seems to get a rush of the head and challenge for everything. The result is that City have possession with a free kick. David White's on the far side. Couldn't make contact. Gale against Quinn. Gale wins the header and was fouled as well. Just under 15 minutes now if City are to add to this 3-1 scoreline. Quinn. Hard to pick out a City player who hasn't done himself credit this evening. Crowd figure of 17,000 has just been announced. Biggins, Molden in the middle, Morley coming up in support behind him. Seagraves and Kelly. Horn. Quinn. Makes it look so easy, Steve Redmond, at times. You won't find a much cooler customer under pressure than Stevie Redmond. Nice turn and run by Kelly. Out to Chamberlain. Not had much of a sniff, Chamberlain, against Andy Hinchcliffe. Overlapping run by Neil. Brian Gale with a header. Chamberlain again. Quinn. Chamberlain looking for a return. Neil. Chamberlain, good save by Dibble. Very difficult for a keeper to keep his concentration because Dibble really has had very little to do in this game. But he was on his toes then. Chamberlain really didn't think very well then when he played that ball. Molden allowing the ball to run. Gilbert and Chamberlain ahead of him. They beat the defender, but the presence of Chamberlain, who'd come back to help out, was enough to put Molden off. Aspinall turns to face his man. Plays an intelligent ball for Kelly to chase. That's a good cross. Redmond stretching, prevented a chance then. Well, Dibble patted Brian Gale then. You've got the glancing header. Always put it behind if you're not certain. That is the motto in football, and that's what he did. Chamberlain. David White's only got one target to aim for, that's Paul Molden. Gilbert pulling wide for him is the captain Neil. Free kick to Portsmouth for something that happened off the ball. Paul Lake, the offender. And all of a sudden something which didn't look to be a problem at all is now a problem, with a four-man City wall about 6 yards away, I think, from the ball. Well, we won't complain about that. Gilbert. Well, I don't think we really need to make much of a comment about the quality of that free kick. Quinn's header. It's as if one of the floodlights had just conked out, but fortunately there are various backups here. Maybe a man from Norweb, the sponsors of the game, will come into his own here. Hogg. Kelly going around the outside, corner. Chamberlain's corner, flicked on at the near post, comes to Neil. Hit David White, or was it Mark Seagraves in fact? In the face. Alan Ball off the bench. Unmistakable flat cap. Well, the only disappointment really from the spectators' point of view in this game, which is certainly heading towards 3 points for the Blues, which is the most important thing, and a fine first half performance. In fact, pretty solid, consistent second half performance, but unfortunately no more goals. That's the only black mark, I suppose, but as I said before the game, 3-1. I'm sure most City supporters would have been highly delighted with that. The trick now is to maintain that against top of the table Ipswich on Saturday. And the 3 points that Blues seem to have extracted from this game will give them a 5-point cushion over Portsmouth, who were before today's game just at one place below them. And here's Paul Lake, goes round the keeper, and that's going to be number 4. At long last, City's pressure and sheer dominance of this game has resulted in another goal. Paul Molden put Lake away. He took it calmly round the keeper, who seemed to foul him, or touch him at least, as he went round him, but Lake kept his cool, and that's 4-1. Well, the goals are being spread around. Before this evening, Paul Lake had just scored 1 goal. That was against Oldham Athletic. And the goals are fairly well spread around the team generally anyway, which is always a good sign. Quinn. Hinchcliffe. You know what I should do? I should keep saying that there's not going to be any more goals, and maybe we could end up with 10 again. Neil struggling to control the ball initially, as did Hinchcliffe, who recovered well. City throw. Taken a long way from where it went out, but the referee seems fairly happy. Hinchcliffe. Biggins. Nice control. Morley looking for it. Molden. Morley now inside. Nice turn by Molden, and another corner. Well, he can be well pleased with his performance, Paul Molden, as can the whole of the side really. Most convincing home performance of the season. Push in the back on Bertie Biggins. Last chance maybe for number 5, McNabb. Molden underneath it. Free kick to Pompey. Well, this season is really going to be a marathon, if ever there was one, with more second division games than there's ever been before. Total of 46 matches. City have now almost completed the 9th, so what they need to do is to try and maintain this sort of consistency. It's not going to be easy to continue the form that they've had of late, of course, with 6 straight victories.